All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we are keeping this broadcast Canadian, and right here, right now, we actually got Ontario's own. We got DJ A.P.S. right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I'm very well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Best I can possibly be, man. I'm actually just happy to hear that the masks are coming off, and I know you have the same feeling as well, because you're not too far from the radio station, man. About 3.5 hours away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, did you say the masks are coming off?
The masks, yeah, down here, the masks are actually like completely off. Like it actually feels weird to actually not wear the mask.
Oh yeah. No, that was probably my happiest day when the masks were coming off because that's when the gigs started coming. So we're getting booked solid, all the DJs down here in Waterloo, for sure.
And since we're actually on that topic, man, if you don't mind me asking, like, do you have any bookings currently right now? And of course, while we're on the topic, how can our listeners actually snag some tickets?
Oh well, my bookings are wedding gigs actually.
Hey, well, you know what? At the end of the day, it pays the bills, man. So you know what I mean. Whether it's weddings or clubs, at the end of the day, it still puts money towards the bills, man. Everyone's got to eat, including us DJs.
But most importantly, music is in the blood. Anything related to music, I just want to be part of it. Whether it's rapping, producing music, or DJing, I go full force on either one. So I'm heavily into music. It's a full-time job for sure.
And also as well, man, taking you back to the beginning of your amazing musical career so far, man, I have to ask, what originally made you decide to pursue a career within the music industry initially?
Well, growing up in Brantford, there wasn't too much back in the 80s and 70s. That's my era. So when I heard Run DMC, I figured out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Right when I saw that video, Run DMC Walk This Way, Peter Piper, My Adidas, Public Enemy, LL Cool J. As soon as I saw all this, this is what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. And I haven't looked back. You know, it's a pure passion. You got to have love for it. Money will come when it wants to come, I guess. But if you don't have love and passion for this music and this industry, you're just not going to be around that long.
And the one thing I have to ask, man, because you said, like, you know, there wasn't a lot in Brantford and whatnot. So I have to
Yeah.
ask, man, if you don't want me digging into this, was it hard to actually come across those, like, Run DMC, Public Enemy tapes back in the day?
It was sometimes, but luckily for us, Niagara Falls is pretty close, and the border was next. So anytime we went to Niagara Falls, I went to Buffalo and grabbed some cassette tapes. But actually in Brantford, believe it or not, I was the first guy with equipment back in the days. So before Socrates and Cardinal blew up, they used to come to my basement, and we used to make music together way back in the day. And they remember it too.
And also as well, man, on May 16th of 1994, yourself and Indian Tiger actually teamed up to release the phenomenal collaborative project titled Unlocked. I was wondering, how did yourself and Indian Tiger originally get connected? And of course, what is the story behind this iconic release?
Oh, that is a great release. That is our first album. He's my older brother, so that was my first. That's our first group. I was the DJ, I was the beat maker in the background, and my brother was the MC. And we recorded, I believe it was 4 songs, and it got distributed all over North America. It was only on cassette tape, not on CD back then. And this was way back in the 90s, and that was my first tape. A lot of people have it, a lot of people don't, but that's why it's available now on Spotify for everyone, iTunes, everywhere.
And I gotta say as well, you know, especially for Canadian hip hop, just to have it distributed all over North America, I was wondering, how did that distribution deal actually come to be for you guys? Because I heard many takes that it was so hard to get noticed, especially in the '90s as Canadian hip hop artists.
It was a lot of legwork. When I released my first printed CD, I did all the legwork. I went to store. I was calling Vancouver. I was calling England. I was calling India. I was doing everything on my own. But luckily for me, I started meeting the right people, and I had to stop doing the legwork. And then time moves on. You got Spotify and iTunes, and no more CDs needed to be printed. So I really enjoy how technology evolved, because I started my career on Napster. Way back, Napster, people remember that. People used to search Indian music, hip hop, so I would put my name beside it, Bhangra / DJ A.P.S. So every time you search something, my name would always come up along with my remixes, and that's what started my career. So I love the internet, how far it's come, and what it's been doing for us musicians, independent artists as well.
And the one thing I have to ask, and I mean this out of all due respect, the one thing I have to ask, because there's not a lot of there's not a lot of Indian hip hop artists actually out there, man. So especially in the '90s. So when yourself and your brother Indian Tiger actually released Unlocked, did individuals actually take it seriously at first, or did you really have to work extra hard for people to actually take this project seriously? In my personal opinion, it's a phenomenal six track tape.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I really appreciate that. Like, our biggest influence, like I said, was Run DMC and Public Enemy, and then being our background as Indian, we've always realized that the tempo of Indian music and hip hop hits the same way. It's the same kind of drum, it's the same kind of pattern. So we started sampling my dad's old Indian records, and it was accepted. Like, it took a while, definitely, it took a while, but but if you just stick to what you do, what you truly love to do, and it just comes across awesome. And a lot of people don't really care anymore that there's indie music in it like before. Everything is so universal these days. But back then, it was definitely tough.
And I gotta say as well, so I don't care what anybody says. If you actually put on some phenomenal Indian music, the beat, man, just gets you up and dancing. I don't care what race you are, what color you are gonna get up and start dancing, man. That's some of the most funkiest beats I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's right. And it just brings more flavor to the industry. I mean, look at Timbaland using Indian music. Everyone's sampling Indian music. It's not really recognizable like you think. A lot of it gets like filtered out in the background, but Indian music is heavily sampled in the industry for sure.
And also as well, you actually established your own independent record label by the name of Heavyweight Records. I was wondering what originally made you decide to start up this company, and of course, who is currently signed to you today, if this company is still on the go.
No, actually, Heavyweight Records is not mine. Actually, mine is ours is Mystic Lab Records.
My apologies on that one. My apologies.
Well, that's okay, man.
But if you don't mind me asking, well, we're actually on the topic of record labels as well. What actually made you decide to start up your own label?
Like for me, like I've always wanted to do everything on my own, including mastering my own music. Like I never really wanted a middleman. So like me and my brother, we know how to do all this stuff. Right? Why do we need studio? Why do we have to pay for studio time when we can just master our own music? So it's just in me to always keep things close with me, so I have full control of everything. And I'm always looking for new singers and rappers to produce. I make beats every day. I talk to artists every day, and sometimes something happens, sometimes it doesn't. But everyone is welcomed. I'm definitely looking for something different.
And I got to say as well, if you don't want me to ask, because we got a lot of independent artists that actually do tune into the station all the time, man. So how can they actually go about getting a hold of you? Because I know some individuals don't mind social media DMs. Other people kind of like it more professional, like an email. So if you don't want me asking, how can these artists get a hold of you to potentially get their music produced by the one and only DJ A.P.S?
Oh yes, and I love to do it. I love collaborating. I love meeting new people. Best way to reach me, instead of all the social media stuff, let's give on my email. It's DJAPS at Rogers.com. Email me and let's work. Simple as that.
And also as well, you actually have the nickname by the name of the King of Remixing. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that. And of course, how did you originally receive that nickname?
Oh man, that's a story I never told. So like way back, no, I shouldn't keep saying way back, but early on, when I was growing up in the UK when I first started out, they started to compare me to like I'm Canada's Punjabi MC, how they are, how Punjabi MC is in England. The Punjabi MC of Canada, and they entered King of Remix, and that really stuck out for me. I go, I'm going to start using that. I'm going to call myself, the King of Remix, just to be different, just to stand out. And I just kept it going, and it just felt good, because I've made a lot of remixes, man, like millions and millions, and so I just felt like keeping the title. I'm not in not competition or anything. It's just you gotta feel good about yourself, right?
I gotta say though, personally, when I actually heard your Michael Jackson remix that you did on Facebook, it looked like it was like a quarantine remix. You're just sitting there, and I gotta say my jaw dropped, man, because I'm not gonna lie to you, it sounded like you were actually working with the king of pop himself, man. I got to say, it was absolutely
Oh yeah.
astonishing.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I was on TikTok and I see so many producers like doing like live beat making. So I'm like, hey, this sounds this is kind of cool. I'm gonna try to do one too. So just out of the blue, I was watching Michael Jackson on TV. It came on, The Way You Make Me Feel, and then in my head, I was like, I'm gonna chop this up and make a video, and there you have it. It turned out great.
I gotta say, it definitely did, man. Like, I have to say, is there any artists that you haven't that you haven't sampled yet that you actually want to? Because I do know you're the remix king, man. So I have to say, is there anything you haven't really dug quite into yet that you actually want to try next?
Man, well, I've remixed so much stuff. What I'm doing now is I'm all about collaborating. I just recently did a collaboration with one of my icons, my favorite, Apache Indian. I did 2 singles with him during the quarantine over the summer, and that was a dream come true project. And like I'm looking to do stuff like that. Yeah, I want to work with just everybody really. I'm just trying to get out there, honestly, like we all are. Like we beat makers, we got beats filled up our hard drive, and man, it's time to release them. But as far as like remixing, I can remix anything, honestly. Any genre, anything like that, as long as it's a tempo that's that's sensible to mix, it's just not a problem. That's why I love DJing weddings, because a lot of mixed crowds, mixed weddings, and I got all the music and remixes covered.
And also as well, January 10th of 2022, you actually released the phenomenal single by the name of Rude Boy that I'm actually going to be playing immediately following this interview. For the listeners that haven't had the opportunity to hear this single yet, what can they expect from it when I play it right here momentarily after this broadcast on 97.7 FM?
Hey, beautiful. All right, that is my latest single. I was just making this beat, and it sounded like something fast, like a movie. So I was picturing the song being used in a movie, and I wanted to think of a cool title that's, like one of those criminal movies, Rude Boy kind of thing. So I just figured, let's just get on the mic for a bit, spit a few bars, and it started sounding pretty good. I added some scratches. So I go, hey, this is not bad. And it's just it's just a track that shows, just my variety of beats that I'm able to do, that I love doing, indie music and hip hop. I hope that comes across clear, that the sound is very unique. There's not a lot of stuff that sounds like that out there, and I hope people really enjoy it, honestly.
And I got to say, it definitely is a very unique song, man. That's why when I knew I had this interview booked and I heard that song get released, I was like, man, I have to play this immediately after the interview, man, because like you said, it's so unique and rich.
Yeah. I mean, like, you got to make something that gives you goosebumps. Like, if it doesn't give you goosebumps, it doesn't make you go, oh my goodness, if it doesn't make you go crazy, other people won't go crazy for it. If you're just releasing just the same old beats, same old tempo, same old tune, it's just, I don't want to do that. I'd rather be different and fresh and stand out a bit.
And also as well, just last month on February 24th, of this year, 2022, yourself and your brother, Indian Tiger, actually released a phenomenal album titled My Contribution to Hip Hop. I was wondering, where can our listeners actually buy or stream themselves a copy? And of course, can you tell us a bit more about this amazing record?
Yeah, well, those songs are just myself. I made all the beats. My brother did all the lyrics. That album was long overdue. It was overdue in the making. I just never got around to releasing it. It just never happened. The timing wasn't right. So we went back in. We heard all the tracks again. We remastered them. We redid some of them. And that album is honestly from the 90s. You know what I mean? And we refreshed it. And it still sounds good today. And that album has been doing so well. I've been getting so much feedback off of it. And it's available everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, you name it. Just search DJ A.P.S. and it'll come up, and you can see my full list of albums there.
If you don't mind me asking, when you actually said it is a 90s record, did you guys originally record that project back in the 90s and then kind of like remastered it and re-released it? Or is it just or when you mean it's from the 90s, it's just a 90s vibe?
No, actually, we recorded it in the 90s. And then I still had all the original files, and we started just bugging out, and we were just one night just listening to old cassette tapes, and I'm like, I still have all these files. Let's just remaster them and, fix it up a bit here and there. And here you go, man. It's a solid album. Probably one of my best ones I'm proud of. It's a great album.
I gotta say, when I actually sat back and listened to that project, I wouldn't have even noticed that it was actually recorded in the 90s, man. I just thought it was that real rugged, raw boom bap sound that Canadian hip hop has always had, man.
Yeah, and you know what? Back then, I used the ASR-10, and the sound on that thing was wicked. It sounded like a Wu-Tang, because that's what the RZA used it. And he used the ASR-10, and Kanye still uses it. It has a different, very unique sound to it, ASR-10. I definitely miss that machine. I wish I didn't sell it.
But I have to ask, man, what is next for yourself, DJ A.P.S? Is there anything we happen to miss during this broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on 97.7 FM this evening.
Yeah, oh man, I really appreciate this, but I don't know. I think we definitely covered a lot. You definitely did your homework on me, man. I really appreciate this interview. But no, I really don't have anything else to add. I'm just going to keep working, and sometimes you meet the right people, and you just keep working hard because my next collaboration, I just want to keep going to Ice Cube. I want to do Chuck D. I want to do all these old school rappers, man. I'm an old school beat maker, and I just want to be a dream come true to have one of those rappers on one of my beats. Like I got Apache and Dean to do it. Seemed impossible, but it happened. So why not keep trying, right?
Hey man, I gotta say those artists, they're still going hard, man. So I wouldn't count it out, man. I definitely think it would happen. Yeah,
and actually, I should say this. I actually have made a beat for Public Enemy. It was part of a contest, which I won it, and it was great. I got to meet Chuck D. I got a picture with him and all that stuff. It was just an amazing experience. So I have made a beat for Chuck D. So next time on my list is Ice Cube.
I have to ask, when you actually say you made a beat for Chuck D, did it ever get used or?
Oh yeah, it's on iTunes.
I gotta ask, man, because I actually did not know that. So for listeners that might not have known that as well, what's the name of the song? That way we can actually go back through Chuck D's archives and actually give it a listen.
Yeah, so on the search engine, search "Get Up, Stand Up," Public Enemy, DJ A.P.S. remix. You may have to put the dots in my name on that one.
But also, A.P.S., this is the time in the interview, man, that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Canada's finest, DJ A.P.S., if they're not already doing so.
Oh, for sure. So please, everyone, follow me on Instagram. That seems to be the latest and greatest app to use. So it's DJ _APS _ remix.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, APS, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM airwaves, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Oh, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate this. I had a lot of fun.
Hey, man, I appreciate you as well, man. I always love giving back to Canadian artists, man, because at the end of the day,
sure.
I love hip-hop, but nothing beats Canadian hip-hop, in my personal opinion.
You know it, man. You know it. It has a different feeling, for sure.
But APS, I gotta say, definitely have yourself a wonderful night out there in the GTA, man, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, again, thank you so much, man. We definitely shall talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Peace out.